Hello, I'm Jerry Fort. I did a review a little bit ago of some cheese doodles that Tim's Brew sent me, and one of the things on the back of the thing says something about recess or something, and what you did at recess. Let's see, how did it say? Remember recess, which kind of, I started talking in that review about stuff that we do at recess, and kind of conjured up some memories of, of stuff we did at recess in different schools I was in. I've lived in 4 or 5 different states or more, and in that 4 or 5 states I was in school. So different schools, different states have different activities, different trends going on that they do. I'll talk about the recess thing at the end. What I'm gonna talk about now is just ornery things that kids did to me in school. When I was in school, I was very quiet. I was very intimidated by other kids. I was shy. Yeah, mostly just intimidated. I didn't, it was later on that I started getting a little bit more brave, about when people would do stuff to me. But let's see, we'll start in Iowa, where I was born. There was a kid in that school that was a bully, and he caught me in the restroom, and this is back in the late 60s, and even then swirlies were around. He tried to do a swirly to me, and somebody walked in, so he didn't, but he got close to accomplishing it. But I told my older brother, some of you know Wayne. I told Wayne what he tried to do to me, and he knows who I'm talking about, and he knows his brothers, and he was pretty mad. He was ready to go take someone out, in Iowa, yeah, that's pretty much about it. There was a girl in the school, and her name was Violet, and she liked to spit. She had this thing about spitting at people, and she'd spit at me. I didn't like being around her at all. But other than that, let's see, I think that's about it, really. So then when I lived in Colorado and I was in school, the activities and stuff, well, I almost went to recess. Let's see. School in Colorado. Okay, yeah. In hallways, there was this one kid. He probably did it to other people too, but he would do that. I can't do it. I know probably you guys can. When you take and you can. I think they call it gleeking, like Gleeking. I think it's called gleek or gleeking. And you can do, not through your teeth, but you can raise up your tongue and squirt out, out a gland, little spit, and it can go pretty far. He did that, and he was good at it. And he would do that to me when when we're walking toward each other, and I'd be like, where did that come from? The first few times he did it, I didn't know where it come from, because it's kind of a nonchalant kind of a what's the word, thing, that someone can do. But then I knew who it was, and then I see him coming, get over this way, so he wasn't gleeking at me. So, yeah, he was a punk. Let's see. That's probably it, mean-wise or ornery-wise. Yeah, that I can remember anyway. Let's see. I don't know if it was in Colorado. It might have been. A kid on the bus, he asked me if I wanted some dip, some chewing tobacco. It was Red Man, the guy carried. He was what we called in school a goat roper. He was, which almost got me beat up one time. I was with some kids, and we yelled at a truck full of, they looked like cowboy type guys, bull riders or something, and we were a lot smaller then, and we was in a parking lot, and they was driving around, and we yelled, "Goat ropers!" and they come around over to us, and they were big guys, and they were messing with us, just teasing us and scaring us, and but they didn't do nothing to us. They left after they scared us a little bit, okay, so yeah, okay. Do you remember this? Now, see, when I was in school, I was very, I don't want to say vulnerable, or not vulnerable, oblivious. Anyway, I wasn't familiar with stuff. I hadn't had somebody say, put your arm together like this, and then they start doing this to my arm, right? And you know what's going to happen? Have you had this happen to you? Or did you do it to somebody? Did this, rub your arm hairs together, and then tell you to open it up, and they're all tangled up. See, they're all tangled up in there, and it's pulling your hairs, and it hurts. Had that done to me. There was something else like that. I can't remember what. Anyway, there was that. That's probably all for Colorado. Now, when I was in, let's see, spitballs, man, kids would do that crap like every school. You had spitball guys, that they would, suck on pieces of paper and get them all nice and heavy and wet, and then they'd flick them at you or throw them at you, or if they had a straw, they would, do that kind of crap. Had that happen, to me once in a while. What else was there? I don't remember what school it was, but at one of the schools, somebody achieved putting a sign on my back. How many have had that happen? Sometimes it's kick me, and people are like, kicking you and stuff, and you're like, stop it, what are you doing? Why did you do that, and everybody's laughing at you as you're walking down the hallway, and you got this sign on your back. I didn't have a kick me. I had something else. It was something written, that was really rude and really crappy to write a sign that said this. It's embarrassing, and then pretty soon one of my friends took it off my back, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, that was on my back for a good part of the day. So I had another guy do that to me at a job too. I was a new guy at a job. It was it was for Nordam here in Oklahoma, and I was doing interior layup for airplane parts, and I was making good money at that job. but I got laid off. I was one of the new guys, and and so they started cutting, and I was cut. But I was there for, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 months, maybe. I made good money in that time, but yeah, some dude, he was a jerk. Couldn't stand that guy. He put a sign on my back, and it was also a rude thing, to put on my back. But yeah, one of my supervisors, I think it might have been the guy that got me hired on there, said, "You got this on your back," and took it off. But what else? I think this was in South Carolina. I was sitting at my desk. It was kind of a quiet time. There was, we was like doing a test or something like that. And the kid behind me took a protractor. You guys know what a protractor is? It's the thing you put a pencil in. It's got a pointy end, and you can make a circle with it. He took the pointy end down, where I'm sitting. You can see, the back part of someone's butt in their chair, and he just slowly took it. And man, when that point hit my butt, man, I jerked forward like I just stopped for an unseen stop sign or something, man. It was like, like that. And the teacher's like, I turned around and I grabbed that guy by the shirt, and that set me off. That was a uncharacteristic thing that just came out in me. I just grabbed him by the shirt, and the teacher says, "Jerry Fort, you let go of so-and-so and come up here to my desk." So I went up there and told her what happened. And he got in trouble. But I got in trouble too for grabbing him like that. I think that was all I remember. Yeah. Things. Another thing. One of my co-workers at a job I worked at. He was an old man. He was just a naturally ornery guy, and we were standing at this like a half wall. And we was leaning on it, and we'd been using a tape gun, clear masking tape gun type thing. And he just took the tape gun and went across the hair of my arm like this with it. I think it might have been around this way, like that, real fast. And now I have this tape in my hair. And I'm looking at him like, "What are you doing?" And he just starts laughing. He thought that was so funny. So it's hard to do. But I just ripped it off and just act like it didn't hurt when it ripped out the hair out of my arms, so that he didn't get total satisfaction that and they achieved giving me some pain on my arm. But he was a good guy. I still liked him, even though he'd done some stupid things. So I think that's it for that kind of stuff. Now let's go over to... Oh, there was that thing too. Had this one job I worked at, we dealt with a lot of pallets, a lot of wood pallets, and we just got through stacking a few, I think, and it was wintertime. I had my coat on, and this guy was walking behind me, and he had a sliver of wood pallet. Sometimes when they break off, they form a sharp point, and he just went like this on my back, just like that. I don't know if he didn't think that that point wasn't going to go through my coat, but it went through my coat, and it hurt. And I did another with the protractor. I grabbed him. He was a small guy too. I grabbed him by the shirt and I said, "Don't ever do that again." He's like, "I didn't think it was going to go through." Yeah, well, it did. I was irritated at him for the rest of that shift. But okay, so so guys and girls, do you remember, like in elementary, when Valentine's Day come around, everybody had their box. Everybody had their box made, you know, with a slit in the top. It was like your own mailbox. You had it decorated, you know, and I think I remember when I lived in Iowa, in elementary, and everybody would take a turn. Everybody had to put their heads down, cover their face, you know, and each student, boy or girl, would take turns with their bag. They had all their Valentines in a sack, and they would go around and distribute, you know, who they wanted to give a Valentine's Day to, you know. And I mean, how many of you, you know, knew of this girl or this guy that you really was crushing on, and you were hoping you was going to get a Valentine from them? Yeah, that was exciting, you know, times, you know, being kids, but still, you know, crushing on other students, whatever. You know what I mean? So, yeah, those, you mostly get Valentines from your friends, you know. A lot of the girls, they weren't going to reveal that they liked you so much, but, and vice versa. But, okay, so like at recess, let's see, in Iowa, was it Iowa? No, I think it was when I lived in Colorado. Yeah. Iowa, I can't remember a whole lot of recess moments. No, I think let's just start with Colorado. Man, when I was a kid, there was these 3 girls, okay? And like I told you earlier, I was fast. I was a fast runner. I was fast, you know, fast dodger, fast maneuverer. I was like a ninja, and I ran like a gazelle. But there was these 3 girls. They were very active. They were very athletic, you know, and they would chase each other, you know, and just, you know, be silly. And they just all of a sudden started chasing me at recess. And they were trying their best to catch me. And when there was some close moments when they would get a hold of my shirt, and all my buttons would just like you know, but I was jumping over stuff, you know. In this school we had these they had these posts that they were one tall, one small, one tall, one small, and it made kind of a wall type thing, but it was smaller. But I was jumping over those things, and it was fun. It was fun running from them. But I don't know, that that activity kind of wore off after a while, but it was still fun. So let's see, that was at one different school in Colorado. Another school that I went to, we would, me and some of the guys, we got into like, I want to say that's called iron filings. They were black, very granule, like even finer than sand. And when you get it all together, it's kind of black, shows like a black powder type stuff. And we'd get magnets, and we'd put it in the Colorado, where I lived, is in Loveland. There's a lot of sand out there, and you would take the magnet and you'd put it in the sand, and you'd come up, your magnet would just be covered. It'd be covered with those iron filings, and you could, do this with it. It would stay, you know what I'm talking about. And we would put it in a baggies, and just collect it, and just for fun. We also played marbles. We would bring a bunch of marbles. Sometimes we had, we had clearies and cat eyes, and sometimes we'd have steelies and jumbos, and can't remember the other ones. But yeah, we'd throw it, try to hit the other. You draw a line, and you'd have to hit the other. You hit the marble. If you hit it, you get it. Type thing. So that was fun. I did 2 square, 4 square, jump rope. I was pretty good at all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know why. I was just good at it. Then I mentioned in the other video, they had a big tractor tire, and kids would get inside it, and they'd roll down this hill. One time a kid fell out, and the tire ran over him. These things were huge. These were big tires, and hurt him a little bit. So they had to ban the tire rolling thing, or we couldn't. Nobody could get inside it anyway. Swinging, we would get swinging real high, and then we'd jump out, try to, jump farther than anybody else. I think that was about it. That was in Colorado. Now, when I lived in Arkansas, I was in Fort Smith. Or Van Buren. I can't remember what school system I went to, but we played dodgeball. I was good at that. You guys are like, Jerry, come on, you're just saying that. No, I was fast. I could, dodge it, jump to the side, I was a ninja. And, you'd have like, 5 or 6 guys standing against the wall or away from the wall, about 5 foot, and they would throw the ball at you, and you would dodge it, you hit the wall, and it'd go back to them. And there was more than one guy throwing a ball a lot of times. So, and sometimes they were good at throwing them balls. They'd curve it around in their arm and sling that thing, which made it really go fast. I was always worried about those coming at me, because those are going to hurt. They hit you in a certain spot, right? Even in the face. And then in South Carolina, when I lived in South Carolina, we did pencil fighting at recess a lot of times. We would have our pencils. We'd carry our pencils in our back pockets back in the late 70s, mid to late 70s. But pencil fighting was a big thing when I was in school. There's not another person here to hold it, but you'd hold it like this. One person would hold it like this, and then when it's your turn, you would take the pencil and you would, you hit it right there in that center. And after so many turns, your pencil's taking some damage. In the middle there, you're seeing these. Sometimes chunks would come out. Sometimes these guys, they'd get down really low, and pew, and just hit it. Sometimes they'd do this, number. But like this one here, this is a rubber pencil. See that? Ooh, heard some cracking. Maybe it's not. But rubber pencils were back then. They had them. They were around, and that wasn't. I didn't know so much about them. But it wasn't fair to use those against a wood pencil because you're not going to break a rubber pencil. But yeah, they'd have different kinds of pencils, and sometimes they'd cheat. They'd take that metal band right there and they would work it out to where it's like a little bit of a point, so we could really work on taking out chunks of your pencil. But there's that. We played No Man's Stand. How many of you have heard of No Man's Stand? You get a group of guys, 10, 15 guys, and everybody's out in the sand, and you're trying to pull each other down. If you get pulled down, you got to stay down till there's still only one person left. I was good at that. I had strong legs. They couldn't get me down. A new guy came to school, and his name was Jerry, also Jerry Donaldson, and he accomplished throwing me down. So I got him back. So we become friends. But is that it? Oh, there was also the what do you call that? I had trouble remembering earlier. Just like in South Carolina, we call if you're gonna get, like in South Carolina when I was in school, if you done something wrong, classroom, you get what they called licks back then, which was each teacher had a paddle, okay, and they would have you go out into the hallway, and they would say, take your pencils out of your pockets if you want them, and then bend over, grab your ankles, and they would take that paddle, and she'd say, you're gonna get 10 licks for doing that. So I was scared to death. My folks didn't even spank me, and I got this teacher wanting to give me licks. I'm like, I never wanted to happen. I did something one time I didn't think it was that big a deal, and I ended up having to go out to the hallway and get some licks, and I was scared. And the kid that got in trouble with me got them too, and teacher, gave us swats, both of us, and then she went back in the classroom, and when she left, I looked over at him, and I said, I thought that was going to hurt, but it really didn't hurt, and we was laughing, and but we had to stay out in the hallway for the rest of the class. But yeah, the punching, the taking turns punching each other in the arm, I can't remember what that was called though. But you punch him, he punches you, punch him back, and then pretty soon somebody's going to not be able to do it anymore because it's hurting too bad, and then you give up, you lose. There was that. And then I don't know if it was South Carolina, but one of the schools, they did the thing where that they put their hands down on top of yours, and then you slap with their hand. There was that kind of stuff going on too. Just all kinds of crazy stuff at recesses. You didn't know what was going to happen. I think that's about it. Almost 30 minutes. So, tell me what you guys remember, guys and gals. What you did at recess, and people that bullied you, or what kind of crap they do to you. If you were bullied, what was you doing? Man, I wasn't too good in school, educational wise. I was a very distracted kid. Didn't do too good in school. Where was I going with that? Does that matter? No. But anyway, trying to think of anything else I want to say before I cut it off. 30 minutes coming up. I think that's it. But let me know. Let me know about your childhood school experiences and stuff you remember. All right. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. See you on the next one. Bye.